السلام عليكم. Should I?
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Where is it?
Just 1 second, let me just sort out one more thing.
Yes.
Moulana.
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم نوّر قلوبنا بمعرفتك واشرح صدورنا بنور كتابك وسنة نبيك واحفظنا عن زلل وخطأ في بيان مرارك. أما بعد, بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. فصل. And so I told you before that we were discussing the chapter on Ahkam al-Sharia. We did Adillat al-Sharia, which was 4. Completed that, now we will deal with Ahkam al-Sharia. And I told you, according to the Mutakallimun, there's not normally how we divide it, but the Mutakallimun is a bit simpler for us to understand. That's why I'm mentioning what they say. Mutakallimun refers to the other madhab. They divide this chapter, the Ahkam al-Sharia, into 2. حكم التكليفي and حكم الوضعي. حكم الوضعي refers to the legislative process we just completed yesterday, alhamdulillah. Now we're discussing حكم التكليفي, أحكام التكليفية, which means like the words that you hear commonly, فرض, واجب, haram, halal. So here he discusses the positive ones. He doesn't discuss the negative ones, which is haram, makruh, and so forth. Right? Other kitabs discuss that as well. What are the definitions? Where is it derived from, and so forth. And then he also goes on to azimat and rukhsat, and what is that exactly? And then we go into the last chapter. So this is called ahkam al-taklifiyah, those laws that apply as a responsibility to the person, the mahkum alayh, the person that is responsible for carrying out the laws of the Sharia. And what are the categories and the status of those laws? Compulsory, non-compulsory, haram, and so on and so forth. Okay, so first, so now you mentioned fard, wajib, sunnah, and nafil, just those 4. And then he discusses 4 things: the definition, the lughi definition, the linguistic definition, the shari'i definition, or the technical definition, according to the Sharia, the relationship between those 2 definitions, and the hukam of each. What is the hukam of fard, sunnah, and so forth. Okay, so that's a breakdown of the chapter. Fasl, al-fardu lughatan wa taqdeer. Fard linguistically means, it has 2 meanings. Taqdeer means to measure something, right? To measure something, to estimate something. And the other meaning is to determine or to impose something. And that's most likely what is meant here. وَمُفْرَضَاتُ الشَّرْعِ مَقَدَّرَاتُهُ. And those things which have been made fard compulsory by the Sharia are those things which the Sharia has determined, has stipulated, has ordained upon us. بحيث, in this way, لا يحتمل الزيادة والنقصان, but it does not hold the possibility of more or less. So in other words, for example, the Sharia has determined that Fajr Salah is 2. You can't add 1 and make it 3 or 4, and you can't read less than 2, and so on and so forth. And then Nisab of Zakah is 2.5%, 1/40th of 200. So you can't give more than that, you can't give less than that. So that is the munasabah, the relationship of why the Sharia chose this particular word, which has the linguistic meaning of taqdeer, for this particular hukam. وفي الشرع, what is the technical or the Shari definition? ما ثبت بدليل قطعي لا شبهة فيه. In the Sharia, it means that hukam, that law, which has been established with such a definitive proof that there is absolutely no doubt in it whatsoever. Such a strong proof, then that there is absolutely no doubt in it whatsoever. Okay, well, and the fourth thing, وحكمه, the hukm is what? لزوم العمل به والاعتقاد به. It is compulsory for you to act upon it, and it is compulsory for you to believe it to be such, to believe it to be compulsory. It's compulsory for you to act upon it, and it is compulsory for you to believe it to be compulsory. Right? If a person rejects acting upon it, he's a fasik. If he rejects acting upon it, he doesn't act upon it, he becomes a fasik. If he rejects the action upon it, he becomes a kafir, out of the fold of Islam. Okay, understood that?
Okay.
Very simple chapter. Wal-wujub, and wajib means what? What is wajib? What is wujub? Huwa sukut, means to fall. Linguistically means to fall. فَإِذَا وَجَبَ جُنُوبُهُم, it comes in the Quran. فَإِذَا وَجَبَ جُنُوبُهَا. Understand? فَكُلُوا مِنْهَا. When the camels fall, meaning when you're slaughtering them and they fall onto their side, at that time you might eat of its meat. So wajaba is saqata, to fall down. يعني ما يسقط على الأرض بلا اختيار منه. Okay, so why did the Sharia choose this? What's the munasaba between the dictionary meaning, the linguistic meaning, and the technical meaning? It is that action which has fallen upon the servant without any choice, without volition, without any uh, without any choice from the servant himself. It has been made, it has been imposed upon, it's fallen upon his shoulders. He has to carry it out, he has got no choice in it. Wakila huwa min al-wajba, for the sakin najim. And some say it is from the word wajba. What is wajba? Wal ittirab, for something to be undecided. Something to be undecided, neither here, neither there. Why is it called wajib? If we take that meaning, سمي واجب بذلك لكونه مضطربا أو مضطربا بين الفرض والنفل. It is called wajib in that meaning because it is between fard and nafil. How is it between fard and nafil? A fard in this way that you have to act upon it, and nafil in this way that i'tiqad in it is not compulsory. Okay? Just like a nafilat. You don't have to believe in it. That's why you have difference of opinion between the madhab. For example, the Shafis don't accept the witr salah to be wajib. Na'udhu billah, you can't say they're kafir. Understood? Na'udhu billah. So it is something where you can have a difference of opinion with regard, like our nafil. But once you have established it to be compulsory wajib, then you have to act upon it. Okay? فَصَارَ فَرْضًا فِي حَقِّ الْعَمَلِ. So it is like a fard with regards to acting upon it. حَتَّى لَا يَجُوزُ تَرْكُهُ, to the extent it is not permissible for you to abandon it. وَنَفْلًا, and it is nafil, and it is like a nafil في حَقِّ الْاعْتِقَادِ, with regards to belief in it. فَلَا يُلْزِمُنَا الْاعْتِقَادِ بِهِ جَزْمًا. So therefore it is not compulsory for us to believe in it without any doubt. Why? Because there is some shubha in the dalil. That's why there's a different opinion between the madhabs, whether something is wajib or not. Okay, well, fi shara, this is the linguistic meaning and the munasaba between the two. And what is the technical Sharia definition? وَمَا ثَبَتَ بِدَلِيلٍ فِيهِ شُبْهَةٌ, is that action which is established by means of such a dalil in which there is a slight doubt. Slight doubt meaning that the way we're deriving the law from is not 100% qat'i. So therefore there's a slight doubt in it. As we did before, كالآية المؤولة, like an ayat which can have different interpretations. Like the hayd masala, we say it is hayd. Quru, we say it is hayd. Shawafi say it is tahara, and both possibilities exist. Because the word Quran can mean either of the two. So any ayat which has multiple correct, authentic, permissible interpretations, that will be a dalil in which there is a shubha. We can't say 100% that we are right and you are wrong, or vice versa. Okay?
Okay.
وَالصَّحِيحِ مِنَ الْآحَادِ, and those ahad قبل الواحد which are authentic and correct is also a dalil which has a slight doubt in it. وَحُكْمُهُ مَا ذَكَرْنَا, and the hukm is what we have already said. And it's compulsory to act upon it, but not as compulsory to have i'tiqad upon it. Thirdly, والسنة عبارة عن الطريقة المسلوكة المرضية في باب الدين. Then, and the sunnah is an expression which is used it is a word which means a path which is traveled upon. So the word sunnah means a path which is traveled upon, irrespective of whether it's good or bad. In the dictionary, it's linguistically. But in Sharia, مسلوكة مرضية في باب الدين. If it is only such pathways which is a good path, a respectable path with regards to religion. سواء كان من رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أو من الصحابة, irrespective of whether that path is the way of Nabi صلى الله عليه وسلم or the way of the Sahaba رضي الله عنهم أجمعين. Why? Because Nabi صلى الله عليه وسلم included them in this word of Sunnah when he said قال عليه الصلاة والسلام عليكم بسنتي وسنة الخلفاء من بعدي عضوا عليها بالنواجذ. It is compulsory for you to hold on to my sunnah, my way, and the way of the khulafa, of my khulafa after me. عضوا عليها بالنواجذ. Hold fast to it with your molars. Nawajid are your molars and your teeth at the back. And hold fast to the This is a kinaya, majaz, for holding tightly onto something like a dog. When they grab something by their teeth, it's very hard to pull it out of their jaws. So this is kinaya to show that you must hold onto it very, very fast, tightly, don't let it go. So sunnah is both the sunnah of Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and sunnah to Sahaba. Obviously, in the case of Sahaba, you have to specify which, if it's easy. And if you just say sunnah mutlaqan, it means sunnah of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. وحكمها, and the hukam of sunnah is أن يطالب المرء بإحيائها. The person, it will be demanded from a person to enliven the sunnah and to act upon the sunnah. ويستحق الملامة بتركها, and he becomes worthy of being criticized by abandoning the sunnah unnecessarily. إلا أن يتركها بعذر, unless he leaves it out, omits it because of an excuse. Okay, understood? Okay. ونفل last one. Fourth one, عبارة عن الزيادة. نفل means extra. والغنيمة تسمى نفلا, and booty is called nafal. يسألونك عن الأنفال. الأنفال full of nafal there in the Quran. So nafal refers to the booty. Why? Because it is over and above. It's a perk of jihad, not the actual purpose of jihad. But because it's over and above the purpose and the maqsad of jihad, it's called nafal. So it's a perk of jihad. لأنها زيادة عما هو المقصود من الجهاد, because it is over and above, it is extra above what is the purpose of jihad, it is إعلاء كلمة الله. وفي الشرع, what is the Shari definition, technical definition? عبارة عما هو زيادة على الفرائض والواجبات. It is the name of that action which is over and above, extra above the fard and the wajibat. Something which is optional beyond the fard and the wajibat is called nafil. That is وحكمه, and the hukam is what? أن يثاب المرء على فعله, a person will be rewarded for acting upon it, ولا يعاقب بتركها, ever will not be punished or blamed by omitting it. والنفل والتطوع نذيران, and you say nafil and tatawwa are synonymous, they mean the same thing. Although some have said that tatawwa is any good action that the person does with the purpose of ibadah, with the intention of ibadah. Any good action which a person does with the intention of ibadah will be called tatawwa. And something which the Sharia has told him to do over and above wajib and fard is the nafil. Okay? Allah Alam. Understood that? Do you understood that?
Jima.
Are you still there?
Jima.
Okay. Can I carry on?
Ji. Can Moulana hear me properly?
Yes. So we can go on to the next one, which is azima. عزيمة فصل. العزيمة هي القصد إذا كان في نهاية الوكالة. عزيمة in رخصة this chapter is allowed. What is عزيمة? عزيمة is technically means القصد, to make an intention, but not just any intention, إذا كان في نهاية الوقادة, if that intention is absolutely if you have a very strong resolve to do it. An intention, when you have a very strong the limit of resolve to act upon what you intend, then you call it azima. Understood? Basically,
firm intention.
you're such a firm intention that you're on the verge of doing the action. Because
Sure.
like an intention, you might do it, you might not do it. But the azima is when that intention is so strong that you're basically on the verge of carrying it out. Okay?
Sure.
So strong it is. Right. ولهذا قلنا, now it's just like a Farah is mentioning by the way, إن العزم على الوطي عود في باب الطهارة. Then, that if a person is determined to have relationships and in vihar, then this will be as if he already did it. And so vihar is where a person compares his wife to his mother or any of his maharim, right? And he has to give kafara before he is able to have relationships with her again, if it's within the vihar period, okay? But in the case of vihar, you don't physically have to have a relationship. Even if you're so determined so that you're on the verge of carrying out the act of relationships, that will suffice for your vihar to be broken and kafara will become lazim. So that strong azam determination to have relationship, that is enough for your vihar to break. Because why? لأنه كالموجود, because in the case of vihar, that strong determination, that strong resolve is as if you acted upon it already. Okay?
Can Moulana think of any other example, Maf?
Any other
Besides this
example?
one? Like, yeah, wait,
No, I think this is the only one as far as I know, where determination, a strong determination, falls in place of the fi'l itself. I don't think there is any other example of that. But that's not important. It's just trying to explain what azam is. And saying that it's such a strong intention. It's such a strong intention as if you already act. It is just prior to you acting upon it. It's basically you're on the verge of acting upon it. And so it's not like niyyah or cost. But that's not important. The example is not important. It's just for you to understand the concept. That's why you're doing that. Okay? ولهذا لو قال أعزم, so okay, that's another example. يكون حالفا. If the person says, I'm determined, I resolve to do A, B, and C, it will be like a qasam. He didn't say, wallahi, tallahi, whatever. But he said, I resolve, I strongly resolve, I firmly resolve, I'm firmly determined to do A, B, and C. Then that will be an oath. It will stand in place of wallahi, tallahi, because it serves the same purpose. Okay? وفي الشرع, what is the technical shari definition? عبارة عما لازمنا أو لازمنا من الأحكام ابتداء سميت عزيمة. And it is a word expression which is used for those ahkam which is compulsory upon us from the beginning, meaning as the law has been determined for us to do. Whatever laws have been determined and has been made compulsory upon us to do and to act upon, those actions are azima, without any deficiency, without any extra. Okay, as we have been told to do. So those predetermined laws. Any predetermined law is called azima. Okay, so to read the Salat al-Dhuhr 4 rakats at a particular time, that's azima. To fast in the month of Ramadan is azima. Okay, to read 2 rakats for Dhuhr, that's the rukhsa, which will be the opposite. Okay, why? Because it's not as was originally determined upon us. Okay, but it was a concession given later on. So any law that was originally determined was, or as a law was originally determined for us to act upon fully, that will be called azima. لأن في غاية الوقادة, because it is in the limit of its strength. لوكادة بسببها, because the reason for it is strong, very firm. What is the reason for it? وهو كون الآمر مفترضة الطاعة. It is that the amir, the person legislating in Allah Ta'ala, his obedience is compulsory. So because of this, because obedience to Allah Ta'ala is compulsory, so therefore to act on that law as you were told to do is compulsory and very, very firmly established. That بحكم أنه إلهنا, because of this reason, that he is our creator, our ilah. وَنَحْنُ عَبِيدُهُ, and we are his servants. We are obliged to do as he says, like he says, when he says. Okay? وأقسام العزيمة ما ذكرنا من الفرض والواجب. And the types, the categories of azima is what we already mentioned. It is fard and wajib. This falls under azima. وأما رخصة and concessions. What is a concession? فعبارة عن اليسر والسهولة. It is that thing which has some ease in it, some in which we have been given some ease, some concession, a respite from acting on it as you were supposed to have done. Okay, it has been made easier. وفي شرع, the technical definition, صرف العمل من عسر إلى يسر بواسطة عذر في المكلف. It is to turn an action away from relative difficulty to ease. To turn an action away, and a action or a matter away from a relative difficulty to ease. Why? Because of some excuse which exists in the mukallaf, in the person who is responsible to carry that action out. So because he has some difficulty, therefore the Sharia has made the action easier upon him to carry it out with a difficulty. He's sick, he's traveling, he has like limited capacity and so on and so forth. Whatever the reason might be, okay? وأنواعها, the types of excuses مختلفة لاختلاف أسبابها. The types of rukhsa, the type of rukhas will differ according to the reason for the concession. Right? وهي أعذار العباد. What are the reasons? It is the excuses of the servant, the weaknesses of the servant. Depending upon what weakness, what difficulty he's struggling with, that is the type of rukhsa that will be given to him, type of concession that will be given to him. Sometimes it's a decrease in the amount. Sometimes it's a decrease in the quality. Sometimes it's a decrease in the what you call the hardness of it, whatever the case might be. Okay. وفي العاقبة تؤول إلى نوعين. However, he says at the end, however, it all boils down to two types. Then the adhar, or the rukhas, is one of two things. Then it boils down to one of two things. At the end, it comes to one of two things. Okay. أحدهما رخصة الفعل. Either there's a rukhsa in the action itself, مع بقاء الحرمة. However, the impermissibility remains. You have been given permission to do that action, but it is still impermissible for you to do it. Still not permissible for you to do it under normal circumstances. Okay?
Sure.
بمنزلة العفو في الجناية, like how you have forgiveness when somebody commits a crime. Somebody did something wrong to you and you make him maaf. Doesn't mean now you give him permission to harm you again the second and the third time because you made him maaf. So maafi doesn't mean permission. Understand? In the same way, just because the Sharia has made maaf of something, has excused you under certain circumstances, doesn't mean that the action becomes permissible now. Okay, it just means that under the circumstances, because you are in a difficulty, in a tight spot, the Sharia has allowed you to act differently under those circumstances because you're under duress. Understand? وذلك نحو إجراء كلمة الكفر على اللسان مع اطمئنان القلب إن الإكراه. An example of that is where a person is allowed to say words of kufr upon his tongue only, while his heart is still satisfied and at peace with Iman when he's under duress, when he's being forced. Somebody holds a gun to your head. You must say, Shaitan is your God, whatever, or Christ is your God. And that others going to shoot you. So under duress, either you're going to harm your body, your life, threatening your life or your limb, shoot you in the foot and the cut of your arm. So you're allowed on your tongue only to say words of kufr, but obviously in your heart not to mean that. So it doesn't mean that kufr na'udhu billah, words of kufr are permissible. It just says under the circumstance to save your life or your limb, you're allowed to say it while not actually believing it. وَصَبُّ النَّبِي صلى الله عليه وسلم, or to na'udhu billah, abuse Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, وَإِلَّافُ مَالِ الْمُسْلِمِ, or to destroy somebody else's wealth. To destroy this windshield of this guy. I'm going to shoot you in the foot. I'm going to stab you in the arm, whatever. وَقَتْلُ النَّفْسِ ظُلْمًا, or to murder somebody oppressively. And said under duress. But is a hukam أنه لو صبر حتى قتل يكون معجورا. Under such circumstances, if he still has sabr, I'm not going to do it, you can do what you want. Until he's killed, he will be rewarded for it. لِامْتِنَاعِ عَنِ الْحَرَامِ. Why? Because he was determined to abstain from something which is haram. تَعْظِيمًا, out of respect, out of honor. لِنَهْدِ الشَّارِعِ عَلَيْهِ الصَّلَاةُ وَالسَّلَامُ, out of honor for the prohibition which was given to us by the Shari, by the legislator, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, or Azza wa Jal, Allah Ta'ala himself. Okay? So if he chose to give his life, but rather uphold the laws of the Sharia, out of respect for the laws of Sharia, in such cases he will be rewarded. But now in the second type of rukhsa is where غير الصفة الفعل, where the sifa is changed, not the action itself, but the quality or the attribute of the action has been changed. بأن يصير مباحا في حقه, where it becomes permissible for in his right, becomes permissible for him only under those circumstances. قال الله تعالى فمن يضطر في مخمصة, that person who has been forced under duress and the extreme hunger to eat something which is not normally permissible, he'll be allowed, he will be forgiven. وذلك نحو إكراه على أكل الميتة وشرب الخمر. An example is that if the person is forced to eat maita, carrion, or to drink alcohol, like what's happening to our poor Palestinian brothers nowadays, they're eating dead donkey meat and cats and whatever else, Allah easy apply, make things easy for them, inshallah, quickly, and reward them for their struggles. So if a person is forced to eat maita or to drink alcohol to save his life, then he is allowed to do that. Obviously, he cannot eat or drink more than what is necessary, and you can't do it with enjoyment. But I finally know what this pork tastes like. No, without any enjoyment and without any مخمصة من غير متجانف أو إثما, and without eating more than is required. فلذا حكم إنه لو امتنع عن تناوله حتى قتل يكون آثما. In this case here, if he abstains from eating it or drinking it until he is killed, or until he dies, then he will be sinful. Why? Because in this case, imtina'i anil mubah, he's abstaining from something which the Sharia has allowed him to do. The Sharia has given permission to eat it and to drink it. Permissible for him, so he's abstaining from a permissible thing. وَصَارَ كَقَاتِلِ نَفْسِهِ, will be like a person who killed himself. Understood?
Sure.
Okay, so it's half past now. Maaf?
It would be like suicide then.
Gee, it will be like that, gee. Okay, so it's half past. So you're stopping here?
Sure, inshallah.
Okay, I'll try, inshallah, to read tomorrow if I don't have an appointment at the doctor. I'll try and complete the last chapter, inshallah. Last chapter is an ihtijaj bila dalil, to make assumptions without any proof, and to try and expect laws, but you don't have any proof for what you are saying. So making assumptions without any proof. That will be the last chapter, inshallah, very short. Hopefully, inshallah, we get to finish it, inshallah, bi-idhnillah ta'ala.
Inshallah.
Otherwise, it'll be after Ramadan, after holidays, I mean.
Okay. But if not, we can see tomorrow if you want to make it later or earlier, inshallah.
Okay, that will be good, inshallah. Jazakallah khair.
Barakallah.
جزاك سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.